This is Archangel signing in. This is Archangel Steam Challenge. Basically, I have over 280 games in Steam, and I haven't played most of them. So I'm going to start going through games that I bought on Steam sales. I'm just going to give them a go. So, actually the challenge is to beat them all, but I probably won't do videos for the whole thing. So we're going to start with the Stanley Parable, which I hear is really good, really weird, but I've never looked into it, so I have no idea what to expect. So let's see what it's got. End is never the end is loading.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-winding, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
See, this actually happened to me not too long ago. I got to work and there was no one there. Waited for about an hour and a half and no one was there. I'm like, public holiday's not till Monday. But it turned out daylight savings ended and it jumped to my clock forward. So I was actually at work an hour and a half before work actually started. So that was fun. Okay, so I'm going to assume that it's a holiday or something and I'm going to go home.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Okay. These graphics don't seem as good as... Just let me check them. Okay, take 3 of affection to...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Is it this way? No. I live with slobs. Meeting room.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Well, that is true. Door on the left in a maze. Always go left in a maze to get out. Meeting room.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Do not alter without consulting whiteboard manager. What day is it? Meeting room. What have we got here? Complete today's unfinished agenda items. Future is yesterday, tomorrow is now. Everyone is unique. You most of all. so...
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I would check the boss's office before going home. Ooh. Fancy. Let me see. Ooh.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
I think I'm meant to be able to... Okay, I guess I definitely am going into the passageway. Loading. It's been a long time since I saw a loading screen on a PC game.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Let him be a sheep. Can't think for himself.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Fuck that.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Hang on. If there's mind controlling going on...
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Maybe he's the one mind controlling me.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
You shit. Oh god. Now I reckon the narrator's mind control. God. Leap of faith. Oh god.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like tugging the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Yes.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Yes. Oh wait.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
What?
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
What? I don't get it. Am I really? What? I have no idea what's going on. So cool. What do I do? What do I do? Exit.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another?
Oh, I got to see
No,
it.
perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that.
Okay,
No.
so thank you for watching.
This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Thank you for watching. This game is insane.
All of his co-workers were gone.
I feel like
What could it mean?
am insane.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply
I am
missed a
literally
memo.
Going crazy. Oh, someone else's computer. So yeah, thank you for watching. I don't think we'll be playing this much longer. I'm literally going insane.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Ciao.